Marcia, aka Anlum, and welcome to my studio. Today is going to be a quick video about some questions that I have been receiving on my channel and on a couple of my Facebook pages. And the questions all revolve around the same thing, and that is my fluid acrylic paint recipe. As you know, or if you watch my channel, as you know, my recipe is 50% paint to 50% water by weight. And that's how I mix up the paint in my squeeze tubes to create things like this. And anyone who has had some kind of education, either through an art class or college, or even like a Michael's painting class, will have heard, and correctly, mind you, that you shouldn't mix acrylic paints more than 15 to 20% because the water then can break the integrity of the polymer that is used to hold the pigment in the paint together. So basically what that means is that if you add too much water, when you paint with it, it won't stay cohesive, it will flake, it won't stick to the canvas, and all of this is true. This is correct. If you are using acrylic paint with a brush and you put too much water in it, the paint will lose its integrity and won't be able to stick to the canvas. So the information that you have on that particular subject is correct. However, I have a caveat to that, and that is because of the way that I do this, I do not lose the integrity. And I'm going to tell you how that is. So I've mixed the paint 50-50 by weight. I spread it out on my canvas and I leave it to dry. Two things happen. The first thing that happens is that the paint all becomes one. So one of the things that people talk about when they talk about painting with acrylics with a brush is that if you layer paints that have their integrity broken by too much water, that the layers will flake off. And again, that is true. However, this is not many layers. This is a lot of paint put down at the same time in the same process, and it becomes one as it dries. So that's the first thing. It becomes one skin of paint. The second part is that I lay this flat, and when I lay it flat, it's very wet. And it always takes a day or two, depending on how big the piece is and how much paint I've put on, to fully dry. What happens is that the water in the paint that I've added evaporates slowly. So the water it removes itself from the paint mixture. It evaporates while it's drying. The paint, because it's one skin, it's one cohesive piece, actually bonds to the canvas, because after all of the water evaporates and the paint dries, then the paint will cure. Acrylic paint is basically a pigment that is suspended in a polymer or a plastic. So when it cures, which takes a little bit longer past the drying stage, acrylic paint will dry and then it will completely cure. Probably within about an hour or so after it's fully dry, it will cure. So the paints that I put down become one skin, slowly evaporate the water, and then actually bond with the canvas. So there is no layers. This is one cohesive piece of color plastic that has completely bonded with the canvas underneath. Because then again, as it's as it's evaporating and then drying and then curing, the paint falls into all the crevices of the canvas. You can actually, when you look on the side, you can see the texture of the fabric of the canvas, because the paint has evenly sunk down into all of the fibers. So I just wanted to put this video out there to reassure people who are new to my kind of fluid acrylic pouring, where I'm not using mediums or additives, I'm just using fluid water and paint, that you're not going to be creating a piece of artwork that doesn't last or doesn't stand the test of time. This piece of artwork is now fully bonded to the canvas and has plasticized. You can't scrape it up. The only way I would be able to remove this is if I damaged the canvas underneath, if I scraped it or cut it with something. It is fully bonded into the canvas now. And then when I put a coat of varnish on it, that will make this shiny again. That's it. It's got a double coat of plastic, it's bonded to the canvas. Your colors aren't going anywhere. There are no layers to flake off, and the integrity is reestablished once the water evaporates out of the 50-50 mixture. So if you have any questions specifically about this, I would love for you to post them in the comments below so that we can have a dialogue about it. But I've been doing this now for a year with the exact same paint recipe, and I have yet to find any kind of inconsistencies in the finish. I've never been able to scrape up any of it. I haven't seen any breakdown in the paint or the polymer. So I believe, especially after you use an archival varnish on this, that this piece will last not only the lifetime of the purchaser, but several generations after that. This is, a 100-year-old painting. Not a problem at all. It'll be able to hang on a wall out of direct sunlight and not be impacted at all by the 50-50 recipe that was created. So again, I'd love to hear your comments and questions. I really appreciate you following me on my artful journey. It's very much appreciated. It's always better when you hear, bye.